Welcome to this installment of Creative Cabin Fever. On today, I have Calva Louise. I fell in love with these guys during lockdown, actually. A friend of mine sent me on a link to Belly Costo, and I was like, oh my God, that song is so banging, energetic, mad, crazy, and political, and just very, very unique. And then since then, obviously, they have a brand new release with Potpourri, and I'm really excited to talk to them about that and what life in lockdown has been. So, hi, guys.
Hey.
So how's life in lockdown? Obviously you're over in the UK, I'm over in Ireland. There's a bit of a different situation going on between both countries. How are you finding things?
Well, we're lucky enough to be able to we live together. So I think in terms of, band dynamic, it didn't really change much. We're still able to, Jess is still able to write music. We're still able to practice, record stuff, keep working together. So that's a big plus for us.
Yes, we're very lucky and concerning that. So we can actually keep doing our best, during lockdown and just keep trying to keep, jamming together acoustically in the living room, trying not to bother the neighbors.
even things like the merch orders, we can just run it from home, so things they're still going. It's just the live shows that
we do miss being on stage, though. But
yeah.
That will come back, and it is unfortunate because obviously you're releasing new music and it's incredible, but it's going to be hard to you're just waiting to go back, you know what I mean? And your merch is beautiful. I bought 2 t-shirts during the week. I'm looking forward to being able to wear them. They're really unique and different, and your vinyl looks so pretty, so I think that'll be my next purchase,
Thank you. Michael's blushed.
So obviously creativity hasn't changed that much because you're all in lockdown together. Thank goodness for you guys. What kind of music have you been losing yourself to while in lockdown? Obviously you're one of my lockdown jams. I'm interested to hear what you've been listening to. Are there any local bands I should be listening to your side?
Oh, well, yeah, Strange Bones. I don't know if you know about Strange Bones. I think they're probably our favorite band.
Yeah.
And singer from Strange Bones, Bobby, he's been producing our songs. So yeah, he produced Camino, Potpourri, and our next single. And yeah, so it we kind of live with them as well, like with some big share house, and so we kind of do a lot of jammings together, and yeah, we just take the guitars and yeah, so that's I feel like more than kind of listening, we trying to do things that we kind of felt like we didn't have time to do, which is enjoying improvising and just collaborating without any
goal.
Yeah, without feeling any pressure. It's just literally like playing music just to love playing it, and that's kind of like what we've been doing. You with your cajon and you with your little mini amp. So yeah, so it's been
it's a useful time to kind of rediscover your craft and maybe not fixate on planning, but actually rediscovering the play and the joyfulness of music as opposed to having a set goal or target. And that must be amazing to be in a house full of creative sorts that you can actually just jam with and see where you go. That's going to lead to something deadly. I can feel it.
Yeah, it's a great time to get new skills as well. Jess has been just learning how to do 3D stuff.
Well, I'm learning since we can't say we don't have time, and we're trying to learn how to kind of do everything ourselves the most we can. And so I did the video for Potpourri, and now I'm trying to increase my abilities. I watched 50 tutorials a day in YouTube to learn how to learn how to make 3D animations and well, just animations, but you've been trying to make you guys been trying to build microphones.
Trying to. It's getting there. Even in terms of Lyset, I think when we go back to the stage, we'll have a different setup now because we've just been like, all the new songs that have been written, they just demand different things in terms of sound. So yeah, it's good because when you have loads of gigs, like I think we play a lot live usually, and then we don't really have time to just sit down and just change things up a bit, like, practice a new setup and a new way to play on stage. So that's a bit exciting.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to examine like your setup and just like play with new equipment as well, try new things out. We've finally had time to do that, instead of loading and unloading the van.
Yeah, people think tours are so much fun, but having gone on a few, I'm like,
they are fun. They're really, really good.
You must see so many places. The van, the Airbnb, the toilet, the petrol station. No, but it's great. It's really special and it's amazing. Especially the last tour we did.
Yeah.
Because we were on tour with an amazing band called Highly Suspect from the US, and they were kind enough to have us on their European tour at the beginning of end of February, beginning of March, and unfortunately it got cut short before we could do the UK date, but it was still amazing, absolutely incredible. So,
that is amazing. One of my favorite things about you guys is how multicultural you are, obviously. So we've got Venezuela, New Zealand, and France, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Although sometimes people think I'm the Venezuelan, the New Zealand one.
Yes. Yeah. There was one interview and someone called Alazon Maori by accident.
That
was the funniest thing.
Because he's got like his name. You got a pretty unique name, and they're like, oh, he might be the guy from New Zealand, but no, it's not the one. Yeah.
I actually grew up in France, so I speak 5 languages, and I love when bands use like different languages or incorporate their culture into things, and I think that's probably why you resonate so strongly with me. So maybe talk to me about the process of just being yourselves in music, because that's probably why I love you so much.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
I feel so. I think so. Like we don't actively like try like hard to be ourselves. so that's what we just start. But that I feel like what we wanted to do, it was just like be 100% genuine and be 100% who we are. And because I grew up in Venezuela, and that's sometimes when I'm writing, I'm like, why not do it in, like I there's been times when I am writing a song and I have it perfectly in Spanish, and that used to happen before, where I'm like, oh, I have to translate this because I'm in England and I need to, like, as a band, we need to kind of belong, like kind of adapt and integrate, and then little by little I understood, like, well, me or us as a band admiring and loving and respecting like British culture, because we all live in England and we form as a band in England, in London, and admiring all these bands, that doesn't take the fact that we admire, respect, and or where we grew up as well, and that's why we're like, well, that's a bit of me, like trying to kind of blend the sides that we love the most into our music, because it will be kind of not being 100% genuine if you say no, we will put that aside, we need to focus into being one thing, because it's not like that. that's why like potpourri is about. It's like, well, it's a blend. And nobody is just like one thing. Everybody's got, you know, a history, and I just think that cultures are so beautiful that, you know, why not, you know,
celebrate.
Yeah, why if, you know, put in a little bit of where I grew up and into where we've formed, and it's kind of, well, it's in Spanish because that's kind of how it comes out. It's not because on the tongue, it's just literally it just comes out like that. But yeah, even like in the music, that's what I think people, you know, been said like, what do you play, like what genre, what and we're kind of like well, do you know, and I said, do you know this band, this band, this band, this band, this band? Well, we love all those bands. And you know, like, yeah, we'll come, and that's kind of putting a little bit of everything that we love, because it's part of us. Like what I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah,
no, it does make sense. Like, we should stop trying to focus on fitting in and just appreciate that we have several layers. There's loads of facets to us, and actually the cultures that build us and the places that we come from matter as much as the place we're in. And I think that's why I love it. Like, I think you do a great job of that.
Oh, thank you.
So I usually ask artists, because I find this question fascinating, what was the first song you fell in love with?
That's a good question.
Wow.
I think it's your gateway drug into the rock and roll industry, whether you realize it or not. You know what I mean? That first song and the soundtrack of your life that goes, this is why I love music forever.
I think like, oh, for me, for example, I remember like growing up, like, yeah, well, different, but I'll stop it.
Yeah, that's fine. Go for it.
Go first.
It's I remember listening and loving the music my parents would listen to, and I remember, well, like Cream, for example, was like Sunshine of Your Love. I remember that song, like I will play with my dad in Venezuela and like jam it with his friends, and that kind of was like, oh yeah, this is I love playing this. I love jamming to this, and it kind of like really, you know, yeah, stuck with me.
Well, I think for me it was probably Pink Floyd. Oh, look at that. I swear I didn't on purpose.
Easter egg.
Yeah, like one of the first album I got was The Wall, and like the whole album is absolutely, like, it just, sometimes I just literally would just cry over it when I was a teenager. Not on purpose, just like, you know, when it's too much. And I think, yeah, and I think another brick in the wall, but the part one, it's probably the one I've put on repeat the most, and that really stuck with me first.
Cool.
You know,
I think mine was probably it's a Queen song. I don't know which one. Probably We Will Rock You, and that's because like my dad is a massive Queen fan. He's like huge Queen fan, and he was always blasting that like throughout the house when I was young. And yeah, I just remember that. So yeah, We Will Rock You. Yeah.
I love how old school those choices are. You know, it's great. Like, they're proper, like, all songs that have really strong messages as well, which makes sense because everything you do has a deep background as well. So that's brilliant. I love that, because I'm discovering more about you while you're telling me things you didn't even really think about before. So you recently were played on Brazilian radio. How did that feel? Like, obviously that was a big deal to you guys, and I was watching you be proud.
That felt really, really good because, well, not only like, yeah, kind of neighbors, Venezuela and neighbor countries, but also because our song also is in a video game, and it's very popular in Brazil, and we got a lot of like people writing to us being like, yeah, like, you know, I discovered you with this video game, like a football video game, and we were kind of, oh, this is great. Like people in Brazil, like, yeah, well, I mean, it's very cool. And so when a publicist, like, she told us, oh yeah, so Muka from Brazilian radio, he's a producer and a songwriter, but he kind of like finds like UK based bands and kind of gives them like like tells them to Brazil sends them to Brazilian radio and be like, oh, whoa, these are my new finds.
Yeah.
And it was really nice because it's cool that we are a UK based band, but with a song in Spanish being played in a radio, and that's really nice. It kind of like tells like music. It's very uniting, and
Yeah, because that song has an incredible stream rate on Spotify. I was just kind of blown away. I was like, wow, like, because I think it's amazing. I listened to it the whole time, and then obviously I didn't know about the video game, so that's deadly. What's the video game like?
Oh, this is really
it's like football manager.
Yeah, soccer manager.
Soccer manager.
Yeah,
Soccer manager.
Yeah, and but it's very cool. I know it's funny because there's some I don't like well, we're not very like video game players, like, because
I used to be.
You exactly not well because there's really
no
hard
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But music in video games is just it's so go hand in hand. It's so connecting, like people. It's literally like people that play video games. Well, it's not only the fact of the play, but it's the art all around it, like the graphics and the music and all of that. And it's just a huge form of art. And so we had a lot of like new friends and like people that have been contacting us, being like, oh, I discovered you playing a football video game, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. That's great.
If you look at the YouTube comment section from Bellicosa, the video, it's half of it is just from that game. It's
Soccer Manager fam.
Yeah, like family Soccer Manager, where you're at.
Soccer Manager brought me here.
Yeah, literally.
But I love that.
Cool.
I really like that because it really shows that people actually like pay attention. That it's all it's literally a big form of art, like the video game in itself,
and that you get so many communities, like a big community that just like that obviously it's around the world, like it's like you can see people are united for different things, but just regardless of where they are. That's really cool to see that you get comments from everywhere, and that's just really nice.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the FIFA effect. I always throw back to Tony Hawk's and other video games like that. You know what I mean? They had such an impact on my childhood when I'd be playing Tony Hawk's and I'd be discovering new bands.
Oh my god, all the soundtrack.
Yeah. Mine was a game called Burnout 3, and it just had like My Chemical Romance on the soundtrack, like all these cool American bands, and I was just like, yeah, this is sick. It's like my soundtrack to my teenage years.
Well, you've made it video game famous, like.
I mean, like, at our scale.
That's brilliant, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you'd like to add to the interview before I finish?
We're not good at asking the questions.
But thank you so much for your interest in us, and it makes me blush, but very happy.
In the background of the interview, I've had their videos playing, so anyone who's been watching those videos and gone, oh, I like the graphics, check these guys out. They're amazing. All their songs are so poppy and upbeat and bold, and I'm really, really genuinely 100% on Team Calva Louise. So guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Cool.